That coyote weighs roughly 10 times what the animal it just backed away from weighs. It has teeth, speed, and instincts refined over thousands of years of predation, and it wanted absolutely nothing to do with what was in front of it. The striped skunk is not large, it is not fast, it does not have claws worth mentioning or a bite that would concern anything bigger than a mouse, and yet fewer than 5% of skunks are killed by predators over the course of their lives. That number is lower than almost any other small mammal on the continent. We are here today to explain why. Welcome to the story of the animal almost no predator dares to attack. The striped skunk's primary defense is a pair of glands located near its rear end that produce a liquid composed of highly odorous sulfur compounds. When deployed, this spray can be projected with remarkable accuracy at distances of up to 3 meters, and the odor it produces is detectable up to 3 kilometers away. But the smell is actually the least serious part of it because direct exposure causes immediate eye burns and, in sufficient concentration, temporary blindness. It also triggers severe respiratory distress and vomiting in most mammals. The compounds remain chemically active on surfaces and fur for several weeks without treatment, and if ingested, the spray is outright toxic. This is not a deterrent in the way that a foul taste or a mild sting is a deterrent. It is a full physiological assault, and it is delivered by an animal that weighs, on average, around 2.5 kilograms. For context, that is roughly the weight of a large bag of rice. The weapon is, relative to the animal carrying it, extraordinary. The spray alone does not fully explain the skunk's success. What actually makes the striped skunk particularly unusual is that it has effectively outsourced much of its defense to the color pattern on its coat. The black and white stripes are an example of aposematism, a visual warning signal that communicates danger to potential predators before any physical encounter takes place. Most animals that carry chemical defenses advertise that fact through bright or high-contrast coloring, and predators in the same ecosystem learn over generations to associate those patterns with a negative outcome. Studies have shown that coyotes conditioned not to fear skunks still eventually avoid them after a single direct encounter with the spray. More significantly, some predators avoid skunks entirely without ever having encountered one at all, responding purely to the visual pattern. The skunk's black and white coloring has, over evolutionary time, become a signal powerful enough to stop an attack before it begins. That is a level of defensive efficiency that very few animals have achieved. The skunk does not need to spray most of the time, it just needs to be seen. However, no defense system is without a gap. In the skunk's case, that gap flies. The great horned owl is the skunk's primary natural predator, and the reason is straightforward. Owls have an extremely limited sense of smell, which means the chemical weapon that stops virtually every mammalian predator in the ecosystem is simply not a factor for owls because they cannot detect it. The great horned owl can strike from above, silently and at speed, and the skunk's warning system, built entirely around olfactory deterrence and visual recognition by mammals, will offer it almost no protection. It is also worth noting that the skunk cannot easily respond to an aerial threat since its spray requires it to adopt a specific posture, turn toward the threat, and aim. Against a predator dropping from the sky at night, that sequence of actions is rarely completed in time. So, while the great horned owl did not evolve to hunt skunks specifically, it evolved with a nervous system that happens to be indifferent to the one thing skunks rely on most. The result, from the skunk's perspective, is the single predator in its environment that the system was not built to handle. Beyond the spray, the striped skunk is a more capable animal than its reputation as a one-trick chemical weapon suggests. It is a highly adaptable omnivore, feeding on insects, small rodents, plants, fruit, and in urban environments, human refuse. Also, it has a demonstrated immunity to the venom of several snake species, including pit vipers, which allows it to prey on snakes that would incapacitate or kill most animals of comparable size. Its thick coat provides meaningful protection against biting insects, which is a more significant survival advantage in its habitat than it might initially seem. Skunks have also adapted to urban and suburban environments with a facility that most wild mammals have not managed. They are not merely tolerating human proximity, they are actively exploiting it, using human settlements as a reliable food source and shelter opportunity. In many parts of North America, urban skunk populations are stable or growing, while equivalent rural populations face more pressure. Then there is this. Skunk kits are capable of deploying the spray before their eyes have even opened, which means the weapon is not learned. It is not developed over time. It is operational from birth, which tells you something about how central it is to the animal's survival strategy. But the skunk is not without genuine vulnerabilities, and they are worth understanding clearly. Simply put, the spray is not an unlimited resource. A skunk carries enough chemical compound for roughly 5 to 6 deployments before the glands are exhausted, and the recharge period is approximately 10 days. An animal that encounters repeated threats within that window, or that deploys its spray unnecessarily, is left with a compromised defense during a period when it is most exposed. So the weapon that makes it nearly invulnerable is also structurally a finite one. More significantly, the skunk's vision is very poor. Its eyesight is limited to a range of roughly 3 meters with any reliability, and it has almost no capacity to detect fast-moving objects at a distance. In a natural environment, this would be manageable, but in proximity to roads, it is frequently fatal. Skunks are among the most commonly recorded roadkill animals in North America, and the reason is simply that they cannot see a vehicle approaching until it is already too close to react to. Pretty ironic when you realize the animal that almost no predator in its ecosystem dares to approach is also an animal that cannot see past the length of its own body. It navigated every evolutionary pressure that the natural world placed on it, and built a defense system capable of stopping a coyote, a fox, or a bobcat without contact. But the thing it was not built for was a 2-ton object moving at 100 kilometers an hour in the dark. To close, what we hope this teaches you is that survival in nature is rarely about being the strongest or the fastest. The striped skunk is a small, slow, nearly blind animal that has achieved a predation rate lower than almost anything else its size on the continent. It did that not through physical dominance, but through chemical innovation, visual communication, and adaptability that extends from rural woodland to urban back gardens. It also taught us, perhaps more honestly than most animals do, that every system has a gap. The owl found one, the road found another. The skunk, for all its remarkable engineering, never saw either of them coming.